to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, that this public body is authorized to meet electronically. On November 13th, 2020, a public notice of this meeting was posted on the town website and on the bulletin board at the town offices at 10 Front Street. As provided in that public notice, the public may access this meeting online or via phone. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. We'll start the meeting with roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting and who that person is, as in son, daughter, spouse. This is required under the right to know law. I'm going to do it in alphabetical order. Okay, Amy.
Amy Farnham. There are 2 boys in and out.
Okay, Cliff.
Cliff Sennett. No one in the room with me.
Lou.
Lou Hitchcock. No one in the room with me.
Okay, Robin. Oh, I don't see Robin, but she did say she was on a Navy conference. But I do see Julie and Russ. So,
Julie Gilman, Selectman's Rep. I am alone in my room. And Dave.
Dave Sharples, alone in my room.
It sounds like a song, a sad, sad song.
It does sound like a song. maybe a poem, maybe a short story.
All right, so to start off the meeting, I'm going to do something new because we have a new format here with Zoom, and Russ is trying to maybe make Zoom be a meeting. The Zoom type meetings going forward. So I'm going to share screen for the public, for anybody who is just checking in and doesn't have their agenda. This is basically what we're going to be talking about this meeting, where our long-term projects, our recent public education, which are our short-term projects, the committee workshops, the educational events we have attended as a committee, and then this small graph that tells you what the energy mix is in New Hampshire. This is important because when we're talking about electric vehicles, it's important to know where your electricity is coming from. So the majority of the New Hampshire mix is nuclear. All right, I'm going to stop the share. And here we go. So roll call, approval of minutes. Does anybody have any suggestions on last month's minutes? If there is nothing, could somebody make a motion to approve?
I move to approve last month's minutes.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Now let's move on. The first thing I want to mention before we do start on the agenda is that last month, Julie?
You need to do a roll call vote to approve the minutes.
Oh, geez. Okay, that seems pretty simple. All right, Amy.
Well, I made the motion, so I don't need to vote.
Okay, good. Cliff, Lou?
I vote
Yes.
yes.
Okay. Dave does not have to vote?
No.
Okay. There we go. So before we start with our agenda, I'd just like to note that many of us attended the Local Energy Solutions Conference last month, held by Clean Energy New Hampshire. That was a 2-day conference. It's an annual conference, and this time it was on Zoom, so it was a little different. I personally really liked the opening, the keynote speaker. I thought that was great, and I know that Cliff and Lou listened to the community power aggregation discussion. I was listening more to the electric vehicle situation.
Actually, I did not. I wasn't there. I was working.
Oh, okay. All right. So bouncing off of that, I think we'll come to our first agenda item, which is community choice power, which Cliff and Lou are heading this project for us. Gentlemen?
Cliff, do you want to start? Do you have anything?
Only just, I was not able, Lou, were you able to go to the PUC hearing, or it wasn't a hearing, but it was a
the rulemaking, yeah.
Last Thursday?
I didn't go to last Thursday's. I went to the one on the 28th of October, and I'll be willing to report on that.
Okay. That'd be great. Basically, what's happening is the PUC issued their proposed rules for implementing community power aggregation last July, and there have been a series of, they're not hearings, they're informal public meetings, I think, to gather some initial feedback about it. And for the community power advocates, the feedback has been mostly fairly negative, primarily surrounding issues of timing of the release of, how a CPA could begin to solicit proposals for energy and so forth. And so there's been a lot of feedback provided by that initial group of CPA organizers, which Henry Herndon, is the organizer of, I would say, and Clifton Below, and they've provided some very good, very detailed comments. And since I wasn't at either the 28th or the one last week, I don't know how they have been received, but maybe Lou, you have more of a sense of that.
Well, I'm just saying that in the meeting of the 28th, it was primarily Cliff Below from Lebanon kind of leading the charge to convince the PUC to look at more lenient ruling that would accommodate community power. Because that meeting left a lot of questions still to be answered, and that required the following meeting that occurred on the 12th that neither Cliff or I were able to attend. As I understand it, the PUC will be coming out with their final rulings sometime early next year, early in 2021. Also the Community Power New Hampshire, which is going to be one of the advocates for community power, they, I believe, are going to incorporate sometime early next year as well. So those two events are kind of necessary before we really understand what the situation is with community power in New Hampshire. I did go to the LES conference, and the portion of it that was dealing with community power. A lot of interesting presentations. In particular, there are people that presented there who I think will be quite valuable to us as resources should we want to continue on with our investigation in community power. Particularly, there's Andrea Hodson, I believe her name is, in Harrisville. They're moving along fairly quickly, and I think it's useful for us to sort of find out what they're doing, how they're doing it. And probably that's something, Cliff, you and I should do in the next month or so to follow up a little bit on that. Also at that LES conference were participants from the very large community power operation out in California, and it's pretty impressive what they're doing. Albeit they have over 500,000 members or clients, I guess I should say. So it's a very large operation, but they're doing a lot with providing funds to underwrite storage facilities. They're in the North Bay area, so the problems they're having with Pacific Gas and Electric turning off the power fairly frequently is making it almost necessary for people to have more and more storage capacity. So they're doing a lot with that. And they're using basically reserve funds from the community power operation. So there's a lot of interesting things going on. And I think it's in our best interest to continue following what's going on in New Hampshire and following what's going on in other states as well.
Okay, so do you think that we should move forward and form an official town committee, or do you think that's the next step, or shall we wait a month or two for that?
I think we need to know really two things. I think we need to know what the PUC comes up with, because it's conceivable that they will come up with rules that really make it difficult to form a community power aggregation. What do you think, Cliff?
Because if they don't change with their initial proposal, I think, the community power group responses, this will make it impossible for a CPA to actually launch, because essentially the way the timing issue works is that the CPA would have to commit to a price before the default energy price was known for that time period. They're linking the CPA's contract to the default energy contract, and and because of the ramp up to that, the CPA's contract would have to be, the price would have to be set before the default energy price.
Okay, so
that's a bad situation. So yeah, I agree with Lou. I think that until the rule making is settled, it's going to have a big impact on how practical this is.
Okay.
I think we can go on and do research, and I think it's important for us to do more research so we're ready if and when those rules come out that are amenable to community power aggregations in the area.
When you say research, do you mean trying to get the data, or do you just mean
No, I mean,
the committee.
I mean, talking with people like Andrea Hudson, is it? Andrea Hudson, and other people who are further ahead in the process.
Okay.
There's a couple of other companies that are also, out there. Good Energy, a couple of others that I think we might, if we have the time, maybe have them come and present to us. Maybe that might even help our research a bit, or at least to Lou and I.
Are you suggesting they present during a committee meeting online here?
That's what I was thinking, but I don't know what you think, Lou.
I like that.
You think that would be worthwhile, Lou?
Sure. Yeah, we have the names of a couple of them.
Okay, then maybe we can try to set that up for either December or January, depending on their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I'll get that down. Thank you. Okay, you guys finished with that?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next off, I'd like to talk about electric vehicles, and I sent the EV fleet memo over to you all. I think I'm going to try to pull that up on my screen. Let me see. I don't have it on my screen. It's going to be a minute. So while I'm looking for it, let me say, oops.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Are you seeing it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason why I have this memo is because I had a meeting with Dave Sharples, and in light of the fact that the greenhouse gas inventory said that transitioning to fleet electric vehicles was one of the low-hanging fruits, I would like to suggest that the Energy Committee partners with the Sustainability Manager to help departments realize the facts about electric vehicles and to help him to transition them maybe one vehicle per year into an electric or a hybrid vehicle. So Dave mentioned that maybe it would be good if we put a memo together. So I'm looking for feedback on this memo. What this memo would be he and Russ would be able to hand this to people when they're talking about the CIPs, and so the department's head would be able to do some research on their own and feel more comfortable with electric vehicles. So I'm asking for some feedback on this memo, please.
So Renee, we had our final budget recommendation committee meeting last night, which was CIP night. And we talked about vehicles, and it was moved and voted on and approved that we would recommend one Prius for now for the police department.
That is fantastic. I'll write that down. Yes, I wasn't expecting that. Dave, were you expecting that?
Well, wasn't that what Stefan put forward? Thought he put one EV forward.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I would have hoped that they would have adopted what he recommended.
Yeah, well, there was talk about doing more than one.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but then decided on the one.
Great. The vehicle that he showed me last year was not a Prius. It was like an SUV, the Interceptor or something like that.
A hybrid SUV?
Yeah, it was a hybrid SUV. And so that was a surprise about a Prius, but yay. Okay, so
I have a question, Amy, just for the public perception that may be watching this. What are they going to use a Prius for?
I believe it's going to be a cruiser.
Oh, okay.
wow.
I mean, those things have pickup. As those of you who have an EV know, they've got some good kick, so why not, right? And the battery makes them, heavy enough in the snow. I mean, I don't see why not.
No, it's great. Just wanted
Is this a hybrid Prius or electric? I mean, there's not all electric Priuses, are there?
No, I don't believe so. No, it's a hybrid Prius.
I think there is a plug-in Prius, but that's a specialty car.
Well, there is a plug-in, but it's still a hybrid. I mean, you can get EV miles if you're, charged enough, but not very many miles.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, does anybody want to work with me on this memo? Off of this committee, off of this Zoom meeting? Okay, Amy and Dave. All right, Amy and Dave. All right. So then there's that. Thank you.
I'm just curious if I could ask, why did they immediately focus on a particular kind of vehicle rather than do some sort of an RFP?
They'll do an RFP eventually. I think they chose the Prius because that's a known price for them right now. But it will have to go out, to bid unless the state has Priuses on their list.
Right. It's not like they're going out to a dealership and buying a new Prius. It's something in the state's inventory that they can purchase at a discount.
Yes, Amy, can you scroll down on the memo? Right there. See where it says contracts? The department, New Hampshire government bids contracts?
Yep.
That is where the Prius would be, I believe. So it's not like at a dealership or anything.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you. You can stop screen sharing. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to move on to Dave for the sustainability update because he had some very interesting things regarding solar and electric cars and emissions targets.
Thank you. First the solar. I just want to give you an update on the solar RFP. We put out the RFP. It ends tomorrow. Unfortunately, though, I don't know, maybe all of you know this, but there was a positive COVID test in town offices, and the town offices are closed and have been. I unfortunately, like I do every weekend, turned my computer off on Friday, so I can't access my desktop. and I couldn't go back into the building because when I went on Splashtop, I couldn't access my computer because it was off. So no one was allowed in. So I finally got it turned on about an hour ago. So it's been a little bit of a hectic week. Tomorrow, no one can go back in the building until they have a negative COVID test. COVID testing isn't what it's cracked up to be right now. There's a lot of people trying to get COVID testing. So I won't be in tomorrow, so I won't be able to get to the bid. But assuming we will get our things tomorrow by 4, and hopefully we'll get some proposals. So I would like someone on the committee to be on the interview panel with us. It's going to be myself, an energy committee member, if someone will volunteer, a sustainability committee member, and then another maybe staff member who's that I can pull along, or the three of us.
I'm willing to volunteer.
All right, Lou. And once I'm able to get back in the office and get the proposals and put them together, because they're due tomorrow at 4. But I can't go in. Maybe I'll call James or someone. There's only 2 people that have gotten back negative tests so far that can go in the building. So hopefully, as more people get their test results back and can access the building, I'll know more once that happens.
And Dave, do you have a rough idea of timing when the review process would take place?
Well, I thought it would be like I would, distribute it Friday and we'd start and maybe the week after Thanksgiving have the interviews scheduled. Mm-hmm. But I'm just not sure if I'm going to. I don't know when I'll be back in the office. I got to get the proposals. Physically, they sent them in. So, that's a little bit up in the air. But right now, I'm shooting for the week after Thanksgiving.
Well, I'm just glad everybody's okay. And I think it's going to be the new normal all winter to have these totally bizarre delays in all facets of our lives. So it is what it is, Dave.
Yeah, understood. It's been frustrating this week. I can't get anything.
Is there anywhere else that these RFPs could be sent in case I needed to tell someone to send it elsewhere?
Yeah, I don't know. We didn't have a mandatory, like sign up or anything. We don't usually with an RFP like this. So I don't know exactly who's, we'll get them in. The building's going to be open. It was clean today, so it will be open tomorrow. There'll be more people. So, when I get in, I'll get them, but it might not be until, I think it's the earliest, because I couldn't get a test until Friday. I couldn't get one scheduled. So, because you can't do a rapid test if you're asymptomatic. I could get one of those, but you have to but anyway, I know a lot more about testing than I have in the last few days. But it won't be until Monday I can get in. So, but they should be there, come Monday. It's just a couple days late. So, the electric vehicles, I think we covered that. Correct, Renee?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you, I, and Amy will work on this memo, and then you and Russ can have it as a resource going forward.
Yeah, and just to color that in, when I talked to Renee, I asked her that would be to get support, because I've been bringing it up in CIP meetings, because that's where all vehicles get purchased. They get purchased through we talk about it at the CIP meetings between Russ and I. And there's some valid concerns. Again, like people bring it up. There's a little pushback to be like, okay, they're more money, they're more maintenance, they're more, the long-term costs and so forth. So I asked Renee, maybe if the Energy Committee could put together a memorandum saying, all the positives, it would give them a level of comfort to invest in these and kind of, get moving in that right direction. And I would use that memo, send it out along with the town manager's directive when we direct folks to start their CIP process. And that will be under vehicles. So that's in April. But you asked Renee to do something, and it's tomorrow. So she was right on it and got me that memo. So thank you for that, and that will be valuable moving forward. And the other one was the emission resolution. I got to draft it moving forward with a emissions resolution. to bring to the select board to adopt the emission targets that were recommended in the greenhouse gas emissions inventory, and that's 30% reduction by 2030 and net zero by 2050. And if you, I'm sure some of you paying attention to the climate change, that seems to be a pretty common goal for people, is 30% by 2030 and net zero by 2050. Go ahead. You're muted.
The governor or the state is doing that emissions commission. Do you know, are they kind of online with that similar projection of 20 by 30 or 30 by 30?
That's what I heard.
Okay.
I heard that, and that backed it up. I've been hearing that all over the place, and that's where, when I asked Rachel, who came up with it, I said, "Where did you come up with this?" And then she told me, that's pretty common. What people are, that's the target kind of people are going for. So it wasn't like, she was just kind of going with what everyone else is saying is a good target. Okay.
That reminds me, someday I'd like to see her data. Her data entry of what she did, just to see exactly what is involved, just for her paperwork or whatever you want to call it. I'm sure it's not paperwork, her files on the computer. Is that?
Yeah, I have those. There's Excel spreadsheets. A
spreadsheet. Okay. Yeah. I just, for my own information, I'd like to see it and see what exactly is involved with these things. Thank you.
I can share that information.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Anything else, Dave?
I think that's it for now.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? I have one other thing, but open it up for anybody else's topic or question. Okay, then my last thing here is, last winter and spring, we had this awesome program, Amy and I, called Heat Pumps and Hot Chocolate. And I remember that one of the last ones that we did, we bumped elbows with people when they came in the house, but nobody was masked because, the government was saying nobody needs to wear a mask. Anyway, it was like right at the end of all that. But Amy, do you think that it is something that we could do on Zoom or want to do on Zoom? Should we do a Zoom heat pump thing over the winter?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it seems like people are pretty used to this platform right now and just looking for stuff to do at night, in the afternoons, they need a little bit more enrichment, I guess. So I think it would be productive. We'd have to come up with something else. We could all make our own hot chocolate at home and have it on
I know. Zoom. We'll have to send a packet out in the mail or something. I don't know. Does anybody have any comments on if we try to do a Zoom heat pump?
I could do like the.
Yeah. Okay, then Amy, why don't you and I work together on the logistics of that, and then we'll present it at the next meeting. And hopefully we can do some in maybe January, February, like that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm pretty sure that we can use the town's platform. Bob Glocki will set it up for us, the whole professional deal. Okay. Oh, there's Bob. Yes, thank you, Bob. Okay, then I think, as usual, we're like almost done. So I think we have to have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
Do we have to roll call it to adjourn? Good grief. Okay.
Aye.